black staff shirt. Make sure you go, give them a handshake and a hug, because these guys have worked tirelessly all weekend through thick and thin. As you guys know, we had some technical problems over the weekend, and they did not stop or miss a beat. Absolutely fantastic work. We're about to get into this game, but guys, once again, for the volunteers, let's have a round of applause for them. Well played. Thank you very much.
All right, countdown has begun. Again, the map choice is going to be Antigua Shipyard. Violet up 2-1 in this best-of-5 series, and if he takes this one more game, he's going to be on to the finals. Match point here at the Gigabyte Esports LAN, guys. The lobby is loading up now. Let's get into the game. Spawning over here in the top position, ladies and gentlemen, on Antigua Shipyard, our blue Zerg. He is currently down 2-1. He needs to take this game to force the series to an ace match. Representing Team MVP here, it is Monster. He will be facing off, though, against this incredibly potent Zerg spawning in the bottom position in the red colors. He is looking poised to potentially take this semi-final altogether and move on as our first finalist of the day, representing Team Empire. Can he do it? Match point. Give it up for Violet. That was a loud cheer, man. I think we have some Violet fans in the audience. That was quite loud.
That was impressive. So guys, of course, Monster really has to be on his game here. He knows that one more defeat means that he finishes his tournament run right here in the semifinals, and he will be moving on to contest the third place match. I wonder if he's going to be changing up his game, or if he will be going into some sort of macro play here on Antigua Shipyard. We're going to have to wait and see, but both sides droning up to 14, and it looks like we'll be droning up to 15 without much hassle, so we should be seeing, I believe, a hatchery first come out of both of these players.
And such mirror matchup from both of them. They're both kind of having the same mentality, but there we go. Pools down for both of them. And it's actually 15 pools for both of them. So
that's interesting. So what you want to be doing in a ZvZ, guys, the best way to play a Zerg versus Zerg is to do exactly what your opponent's doing, but just a little bit later, because that means if you're able to defend at the front of your base against the exact same thing your opponent's doing, you're going to be able to squeeze out one, maybe two more drones, and over the long term, that will slowly snowball into an economic advantage that will give you a sizable lead in the game. So instead of going for that 14 pool, both players potentially anticipating that the other guy's going for a 14 pool and going for that 15 pool themselves before going for that hatchery. So we're squeezing out one or two extra drones compared to what would be considered a normal build here. And I'm impressed. I mean, double 10 pool, double 14 pool, double 15 pool into hatch. These guys, it's like they're reading each other's minds, man.
Yeah, they're just like sensing each other's. They're listening to each other's mouse clicks in the booth, and like, oh, wait a minute, I got this. I heard you throw down that drone. I can make my drone. I can make my drone. I can make my queen. And again, everything pretty much the same so far.
Very much so. We do see, as it currently stands, 16 to 18 workers in favor of Violet at the moment, but Monster just popping with 2 extra drones of his own. The builds, as we mentioned, are more or less completely mirrored. We do have a first gas coming down here for Empire.viOLet, just about to complete, but crucially, the first difference in this game, Monster has already mined 85 gas.
Yep, so again, Monster going to be a little bit faster with that metabolic boost, but so far in every single one of these games, it really hasn't come down to that, surprisingly. They've just been so evenly matched, both of them playing just to the razor's edge in terms of defending all that stuff. And right now we do see Violet's queen moving out a little bit forward, wanting to chase that Overlord away. And that's exactly what you want to do in a ZvZ. You don't want your opponent to know exactly how much defenses you have at your front, because then they're just not really willing to commit to this. But right now we do have a slightly faster Baneling Nest from MVPMonster.
So Monster looking like he wants to put on that 2-base aggression, potentially. We'll have to wait and see what his plans are regarding that Baneling Nest, and you make an excellent point there regarding the Queen chasing away the Overlord Thundertoss. Not only will it mean that Monster will not be able to seal the front of the natural expansion of Violet, but a lot of Zerg players sometimes carelessly throwing away Overlords almost when they scout them a little bit too far. The Queen's able to move off creep and try and take those Overlords out. That's not going to happen in this case because the Queen would have had to go down the ramp. That's why Monster actually moved the Overlord in that direction towards the third to make the Queen walk as far as possible. But in some cases, it could lead to early supply blocks. And in a ZvZ, something like that could be absolutely crucial.
And right now, important to note, we do see Monster morphing 5 Banelings. Now, Violet's Overlord, I did check his vision, and most of you on the stream saw that he just barely saw them skating by, and now he's getting a Baneling nest of his own at the front. He also has that Spine Crawler rerouting very, very close to the ramp. So is he going to be able to hold this off? We do see more Ling reinforcements streaming across the map here from Monster, and this is going to be a very decisive battle, I think. Right now, supply is incredibly even. Looking at the units tab, we do have a very, very large Ling supply lead for Monster as he's trying to get into the natural here. The Banelings are not finished morphing. The Lings from Monster getting into the main. They're going after the Queen first, and then they're going to be able to go at the drones, but the defensive Banelings for Violet are finished. They need to be rallied towards the main. The Lings going after the drones now, though.
That one Baneling in the main, and excellent taking it out there is Violet. He was 32 to 21 drones ahead when this engagement started, but Monster with so many units in the main base of Violet right now, will that drone advantage pay off in the long term? Monster hiding a couple of Lings in the smoke screen there, hoping to get some Baneling hits off later. Violet doing a good job of moving all his drones into the natural, trying to prevent too much damage from being taken. Only 3 workers killed from Monster so far, but the Queens are down from Violet. He has 0 Queens left on the field, 29 drones and 17 Lings remaining. It looks like he is just about going to be able to hold this off with some decent micro. Nice hit on that Baneling there. He just needs to scout the smoke screen. The worker tab shows 29 to 21, but don't forget, Violet does have to remake his Queens. Number of drones killed, 3 well held.
Oh, but look at this. He's still streaming across the map. He is committed to this, and we do have to note that a lot of the drones were pulled away from the mineral line, so he did lose some mining time there, maybe not able to resupply as quickly as Monster can. And huge Baneling hit for Monster. That was amazing, hiding him in the smoke, and now his Lings are going to run a rampage on the main mineral line. The Banelings from Violet trying to do enough economic damage and kill off those Lings, but right now the Lings forcing the drones off the line in the main once again from Violet.
That was beautiful from Monster. He could have gone after the drones in the mineral line, decided not to, baited the Lings from Violet towards the smoke screen, and that's where the Banelings were hiding. A beautiful Baneling explosion takes out so many Lings from Violet, and Monster able to get a lot of leverage here surrounding the Spine Crawler, the natural expansion as well, and we have another Baneling. The Zerglings aren't able to take each other out. Violet is just playing dodgems at the moment. We do finally get the Spine Crawler down as well as the Baneling, but Monster going to be continuing the aggression. 42 supply to 37, and the worker supply has now evened out 24 all. Monster looking like he does not want to stop anytime soon, and the Queens once again going down.
Monster with some Lings left over, some defensive Banelings coming up for Violet. But again, the Ling aggression is paying off for Monster. He is really committing to this, but getting the damage he needs to do. And it looks like one Baneling did go off in the main mineral line, but the Lings unable to kill that much more. We do see 10 workers killed so far for Monster. Supplies about 10 ahead for him in that regard. And now we see additional Banelings headed towards the natural mineral line here, but can they do enough damage? Getting a couple extra drone kills, that is huge. Violet down to 27 supply compared to the 44 for Monster, who is now going back into adding on a couple more drones here, but we still see a lot of units streaming across the map for him.
That's right. Monster has taken, by the way, the worker lead for the first time in this game. This relentless aggression, I think, coming down to that moment when the Baneling came out of the smoke screen to kill the Lings from Violet, really turning the game around. He is droning up behind this now, and he is at 30 workers to the 21 of Violet. It looks like Violet is going to be stabilizing at this moment in time, but Monster continuing to stream in Zerglings and Banelings, rallying them to just below the natural expansion of Violet. 45 to 36 supply up, and it doesn't look like he is going to be stopping this anytime soon.
Yeah, after killing those Queens, he knew that no matter what happened, he would have a little bit more larvae than his opponent, and he's using that to really stress it. Every single one of those larvae going into Zerglings or defensive units essentially turning the drones into Spine Crawlers because he knew that he did not have enough Lings to contest that. And with the Baneling control from both of these players, it is so incredibly close right now. 50 supply to 45 as Violet is recovering here, actually.
Violet's doing a pretty good job recovering. He's actually droning up behind this, which is what Zergs need to do. You don't assume, oh, hang on a second, he's continuing attacking. I need to keep building Zerglings. That's what happens when you get a small economic advantage and start snowballing. You always need to make sure that you are droning up behind it. The worker supply is actually back up 44 to 40, so Violet doing a good job here, rerouting 2 of these Spine Crawlers to the front of the base, and it looks like Monster finally is going to be giving up the aggression for now. One Baneling going to be moving back to use as defense because it is low on hit points, and he's just basically going to be sitting out here waiting to see what a potential timing is from Violet if an army is going to be moving out in the near future.
Look at this Monster adding on both gases at his natural. We do also see that Lair coming up And with that Evo Chamber, I'm not sure. I think we're going to see maybe a muted transition here.
Yeah, there are 3 gases coming out from Violet now, so he has taken all 4 of his gases in the main and natural expansion. His lair is actually going to complete a little bit after Monster, and Monster is going to be the first player here to put down that Spire. It is in the main base, so we're going to possibly see a little bit of a mutatech transition. The lair now just about to complete for Violet as a macro hatch is going down as well. Let's wait and see what he chooses to do with this and what tech transition he's going to be coming out.
And we see some Lings pressing forward here at the natural for
Infestation Pit.
Violet, and yes, he's going to go for those infestors. Also getting some Spore Crawlers down, so it looks like he has wind of this. I'm not sure whether he scouted it out or just considers it a highly possible. He did scout the 2 gases at the natural going down, so maybe making the same call. And right now, adding on a couple queens, we see 3 queens taking down the Overseer here in the natural for Monster.
Ooh, and the Changeling actually sees the Infestation Pit, so Monster knows that Violet's going for the Infestation Pit. Violet anticipating Mutalisk play coming out from Monster here, going to try and put down those Spore Crawlers and get some Infestors out on the field. That's exactly what you want to be doing against a Muta-ing player. We do also see a 3rd base coming out from Monster here. This is usually a good idea when you know you're going to be establishing map control, and Mutalisk, of course, with that air control, able to move all around the map. An excellent time for him to be taking his 3rd base because Violet's not able to move out against this very soon.
Oh, again, we're still seeing these heavy Ling Banelings wars into the mid game, which is just so unusual. Right now, Violet being forced to detonate a couple of those Banelings on a little Zerglings for Monster. Right now, he is down 20 supply, though, as we do see 4 mutas coming out. Those are going to clear mostly Overlords in the map, but it looks like Violet already clearing them away. We see 1 over at the 3rd, and an Overseer hanging out by the main to maybe go in for an additional scout, but Monster already transitioning into that Roach play, getting that Roach speed down, and Violet's still stuck on 2 bases.
He is indeed. He does have the macro hatch down, so he will have the larva with which to potentially mount an attack here, or maybe scramble together a defense if he needs to. But the 3rd base is now up and running for Monster, and it looks like a Queen going to be picking off an Overlord here. It will not supply block Violet, though. He is perfectly fine in that department. Supplies, though, 96 to 76. And Monster now taking a 20 supply lead. He is now going to be mining from a 3rd base. The income tab will shortly skyrocket in Monster's favor as that 3rd base gets saturated. And really, the onus is on Violet here to see what he can do to resolve this situation, as Monster now going to be getting a macro hatch of his own.
52 drones to 71 for Monster. That's giving him a massive economic advantage here. And right now, the Muta is doing their job, clearing out some of the Overlords in the center of the map. As we see a little bit of Ling aggression here at the natural. Again, Violet's still unable to establish that 3rd base, so that means he's got only 4 gases to work with and try to pump out these Infestors and make something happen. Now, Infestors are probably the best defensive unit in the entire game, able to lock down any kind of army that overextends itself and just continue to fungal it. But without that extra mining, I think Monster's going to be able to afford, as we see these 4 mutas just doing a little bit of pressure on this 3rd base.
Yep, he sees the Infestors coming in, though, and Monster is going to have to retreat, so the hatchery at the 3rd base will not be denied at this time. We'll have to wait and see what Monster decides to do about it. Of course, he knows that his 3rd base has been mining a lot sooner than his opponent. Those injects have given him that many more larvae to work with, and the worker supply is currently 71 to 66 in favor of Monster. Not that big of a lead, but he is 25 army supply ahead, and that is really telling, as Monster going to be putting down a hatchery in the middle of the map at the gold base as well, while maintaining his creep spread. Look at the creep spread from Monster. He's really been keeping it up this game. Actually going to be creeping towards the central Zelnaga tower in just a moment.
A lot of times you do not see creep spread in ZvZ because it can work in either player's favor, but Monster, knowing he has a little bit of advantage, he wants his reinforcements to get to Empire.viOLet's base just that much faster, and so that's why we see the creep spread towards the middle. We also see that gold base coming up. That's going to allow him to resupply with so many roaches or lings, whatever he decides. He does go for that +1 carapace yet again, and right now we do see Infestors joining the fray here. Not as many as Violet has right now, but Violet just now establishing that 5th and 6th gas here.
That is an excellent point, actually, because there we go. It looks like the Overseer is going to see quite a lot, and it will actually survive to see another day as well from Empire.viOLet. So just getting a decent scout off in the main base there and gooping up the lair as well. So well played to him. But as you mentioned, Thundertoss, the creep spread does favor the player who is slightly ahead, because if you can resupply faster and you're on a better economy, why not get your units in there as quickly as possible? You do have a little bit of an engagement at the 3rd, just a bit of a skirt skirmish, though. Empire.viOLet completely prepared for this, but the rest of the army moving into the natural expansion. Excellent fungal from Empire.viOLet on some of those roaches. We have counter fungals coming out from Monster, though, and it looks like Violet has the better concave. He also has these spine crawlers out in the middle of the map, and Monster has to pull back. Empire.viOLet holds, and the army supplies are now even.
Wow, what a defensive position there by Violet, able to separate those roaches and just take down one section of it at a time. And now we do see it as a one supply lead, adding on now 10 Hydras, going to be able to counter push towards the center right now, as we do see that Overseer does spot off the stuff in the center, but doesn't actually see the hatchery yet. But obviously he knows he needs to break that. He knows he needs to do something here as we look at the income tab. 71 now for Violet compared to the 65, so he has now taken an economic advantage.
Wow. That is pretty impressive here, actually, considering Monster is also mining the gold minerals. So Violet hopefully going to be able to use this platform to do a little bit of a push. The main base, of course, from Monster is now mined out, but it is not yet mined out from Violet. That is the reason everything is going so well for him. We don't actually have full saturation on the gold yet. Monster will be equalizing that shortly, and there we go, finally creeping back up more towards 2,000 minerals a minute. But this gold base, as you pointed out, Thundertoss, is going to be a massive problem later on in the game if Monster decides to constantly resupply. We'll have to see what Violet wants to do about it, as both players now going to be going up to 200-200. Monster making spine crawlers in the middle of the map.
And I love this from Monster. A lot of changelings in the middle of this entire huge army from Violet. So hard to pick off in the middle of all this. They just look so similar.
Oh, guys, we could be seeing a little bit of Nidus play here. We have got an Overseer moving towards the main base, and it looks like a Nidus may very well pop up. Violet is actually staying on his own half of the map. The Nidus worm is launching in the main base of Monster. Does he see it with that Overseer? He does, but he's not reacting at the moment. There are also no drones there. A Queen could have done a bit of damage to it, but it looks like the Nidus is going to go down. Monster is going to have to attack into Violet at this point. Those units going back are going to take so awfully long. And Nidus worm on the map, ladies and gentlemen. Empire.viOLet now streaming into the main base of Monster. This is match point.
And we do have the counterattack going off the third as well here from Violet. Infestors spamming Infested Terrans at the top of the ramp, but right now we're seeing a massive base race situation as Violet is committing his entire army to this, overpowering the forces for Monster, as all of his army is over here and the main for Monster. Right now the supply is going down for both players. Monster still with the lead, but all the production going down for Monster. His tech is in shambles as the Hydras, the Roaches, the Infestors working down on both sides. Monster trying to break into the main and the natural here as well, looking to maybe take down the Nidus network and prevent a retreat here from Violet.
Oh, but the drones going into the Nidus network. Violet taking his drones with him into the main base of Monster. Is the Nidus network going to get put down? He needs to unload those drones at the other end as well. We do have the base trade continuing. Violet actually now down in supply, 137 to 164. He needs to try and get rid of all this tech. Oh, the drones haven't actually left the Nidus worm. He's keeping them inside for a little longer as both players wreak havoc in each other's bases even longer.
But look at this, a huge spine crawler defense, essentially containing his own main base from the forces of Violet, who are just annihilating everything. The drones in the natural going down as well. Infestors now burrowing forward. And is there any detection there? There is an Overseer. He cannot go down that ramp at the moment, and his own Overseer does spot that out. Now the drones for Violet in the main of his opponents, and this is just such a crazy game right now. He does have expansions at both the 9 o'clock, which is getting taken down by Roach, and the 2 o'clock. But what is he going to be able to do from here? Both of the players taking some major losses. 136 supply to 128. This is so incredibly close. Looking at the army supply, 104 to 102.
This is an absolutely insane game. 38 to 26 work is actually in Monster's favor at the moment. He is mining from that third base location as well as the gold base at the moment, so the income advantage definitely lying with him. Violet actually not currently mining, and it looks like that 7 o'clock base getting taken out, spotted by the Roach, getting cancelled probably, and the 2 o'clock base is actually still up, but no drones are mining at it, crucially. We'll have to wait and see what he is able to do about this. A lot of Infestors out in the middle of the map near the gold base. There is no detection here for Monster, and Violet electing not to try and take it out at this moment in time.
Look at the rally, though. He's going to spam down a ton of Infested Terrans, giving himself the time to start shooting those down.
Oh, he's going to come in from the back as well.
Jump down the ramp. And is there enough? The Fungals?
This is going to be the end of the game, one way or the other. We have an absolutely huge engagement here. A lot of infested turrets. They're getting cleaned up at the front, but in the back, Violet trying to punch in with everything he has. Monster, though, up 128 to 55 supply. He is beating back Violet right now, and I think we're going to be seeing a game number 5.
And yes, we are. Violet,
GG! What an incredible back and forth game that was, Thundertoss. A ZvZ base race on Antigua. A wonderful final engagement. A nice last hurrah there from Violet, but unable to break the spine coral wall, plus the army out there from MVPMonster. And that means we're going to be going to a 5th and final game.
How many times in a ZvZ do you see the final battle ending up being a sandwich of your opponent going down from your own main into your own contain as your natural?
The positioning was absolutely insane there. There were spine crawlers all over the map. Monster trying to contain his own base there. And wow, the players are actually already into the game. So I think we're going to be getting straight into this, I believe.
Let's take Violet right away making that map, and it's going to be entombed.
Entombed Valley is going to be the 5th and final game. One of these incredible Zerg players is going to make it right now into the finals of the Gigabyte Esports LAN.